Welcome, everybody, to another live edition of our Man's Night. I'm your host, Jay. Thank you guys so much for being here. I do very much appreciate it. And of course, as you guys can see, we are live in our studios. And we have an interesting show, as you guys can see in the title description. As you guys know, we're going to be talking about the issues within our prisons, how our inmates or our better than our locked up loved ones are being treated, and all of that here tonight. So I hope you guys really appreciate the information and data that we're going to be sharing here tonight. As we sit here and go through the chat, let me go ahead and welcome you guys in here real quick. Our good friend Cynthia, who is in here, she said this. Hello. Yep, absolutely. And of course, I get in here real quick in the chat and I say, hey, Cynthia, how you doing? Absolutely. And then we got, let's see, who else we got in here in the chat real quick. Let me find it. Oh, we got Trey Stone in here. What's going on, Trey Stone? How you doing? Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you're doing good over there in your neck of the woods. As you guys can see, he just said, sorry about missing Wednesday's show. I wanted to be there. There is only to make sure there wasn't trouble. Well, thank you very much for sticking by my side on that. I appreciate it. And as you guys know, we have a great family in here. Thank you guys so much for being in here. And of course, Cynthia said, I'm back. But before we go any further with this podcast, let me introduce our co-host, Tammy, to the show. Welcome, Tammy. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Jay?
Oh, man, it's been an interesting last few days, if not week. And I've had a pretty rough few times there with, what's going on. But I skated through and I'm surviving and we're here. So other than that, I made it. I made it.
Yes, and that's what we need. We got to keep struggling and doing this fight, whether people understand why we're in it or not, and whether they believe innocence or guilt or what have you. It doesn't matter. The whole deal is before people say things, and this goes for any walking or wake of life. You really should sometimes just take a step back. Look at it, and these people that hate and dish out all this anger and stuff like that, they really need to take a step back and go, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Am I wrong here? Is this really necessary? What am I accomplishing? And people jump and make assumptions, and what they say about assumptions.
Right, absolutely. And keep in mind, it's also these people that do these hateful type things, especially with today's technology and being online, they all suffer from mental problems. And like I said, they suffer from what is called sadism. That's another reason why they do what they do. They think they're being heroic, but what they're causing is just a lot more issues that I don't care to address here, but you get the idea. So, but anyways, before we get into the podcast, Tammy, as I mentioned to you in the private chat, we have a special guest that's on the phone. Let me go ahead and introduce her. She used to be a part of this podcast at one time, but she's back, and we're trying to basically rekindle and fix our relationship. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on the phone, calling from her prison in Washington State. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, the person that used to be part of this show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my sister, JAYLEE. Welcome, JAYLEE. How you doing?
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for having me here during this live show. I greatly appreciate it. I'm doing it as best as I can, being confined. But as you were saying there, we all struggle through things, and the only way we can actually overcome obstacles is we have to work together and find ways to come together and resolve these type of problems. And that's what we're doing now. And so I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for taking the time in your current situation and whatnot to be a part of the show. Before we get started, because we got a lot of data to try to unpack tonight, but I understand that there's a message that you wanted to say real quick before your time's up, because I know you're limited to say what you need to say, but go ahead and say what you need to say for the show for tonight anyways, and then we'll go from there. If you're still here, we can go through some of the podcasts tonight. But Cynthia said, hello, JAYLEE. So with that, go ahead with your message real quick, and we'll go from there.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I just want to premise this message and say that trying to run a business from inside a prison is an overwhelming task. It got to be really overwhelming towards the later part of 2023. Been trying to manage this podcast and do my other duties to try and eventually get out of prison. Things could go ahead there in the later part of the year, where I was getting reports and information from people behind the scenes. They were complaining about Jay's behaviors, and I was really kind of caught off guard with the whole mess. I tried my best to manage it from inside this place. I don't think I managed it too well, because my good intentions got taken in the wrong direction. And ultimately, instead of just having a private conversation with my older sibling, the host of the show, Jay, I ended up taking the word of people who used to work for me, take their value a lot more than Jay's words on the subject. And ultimately, I believed people when they said that Jay was doing some form or some type of misconduct. So long story short, my actions, even though they may have been good intentioned in the beginning, they ended up causing more harm than I intended. Yeah. And once I had open lines of communication with Jay once again, I was able to understand from his perspective how my actions caused harm. And I immediately took down the domain from inside to outside.com, because it was not doing anything other than stirring up unnecessary emotions and drama that none of us can afford. And then I moved to dismiss pending litigation that was on the books. And you might hear about that with somebody who's bringing up, really it's old news now, but all cases that had ever been pending related to this podcast are now done and over with, or will soon be dismissed. And so I just want the record to reflect that I'm making an effort to mediate the issue. I'm trying to come to the table in good faith to try to resolve this conflict, and hoping that there will never ever be again another business dispute regarding this show, because even though I may have had good intentions in the beginning to protect the show, I ended up putting the show before my family, and you should never do that. It's always family first. If there's a problem with family, you give with family and you deal with it. But I made the mistake of putting the show first instead of putting my brother first. I just wanted to apologize on the record and let everybody know where I am currently with this whole drama. Back to you, Jay.
Well, thank you very much for that. And thank you so much for showing your accountability when it comes to your wrongdoings and what you did, and recognizing your issues and faults at hand over here at FION, and everybody involved. We appreciate it. Tammy, was there something you wanted to say real quick before we start?
Yeah, I would, if you don't mind.
The floor is yours. Go ahead.
JAYLEE, it takes a lot to come up here and say everything that you've said. I just want to tell you, you've been in there a long time. You've gone through a lot. And the people that were part of that mess that began, they were messaging me privately, telling me things that weren't 100% legit and true. And once the digging came out and some of the things with a few individuals finding out that they had charges that were much more severe than what Jay had, I just want you to know that it's sad that some of those people took your incarceration and tried to use that to their advantage to gain leverage. And so you can't put all of it on your own shoulders. It was a big planned ordeal that wasn't all you, you know? So just know that that I saw the big picture in myself. I saw everything that was going on, what was what on all ends and all fronts, because I was an outsider looking in. And so I just want to encourage you to continue to hang in there. There's a lot going on out in the free world in cases like yours, and depending on what comes of some of the decisions made in those cases may benefit you greatly. And I think that there's one that, and I'm trying to watch it and pay close attention. So I want you to know that there is hope. There's a lot of hope for you to eventually get out of that place, and you are not alone.
Yeah. Did you get all that, JAYLEE?
Yes. Wow. Thank you so much for that. You probably understand it's never easy to admit when you do things wrong, because, at the relevant time frame, you're thinking you're doing everything right. And it was never my intention to cause harm. But again, I was blindsided by other people's agendas, and it took a while to figure it all out. But once I did, I immediately reversed course. And I don't think even now that I've reversed course on this will stop the trauma, but at least it's a learning lesson, and we can actually explain to the public now that, when you go into business and do businesses like this, you really have to vet the people before you hire them. And that was my struggle, being confined. And unfortunately, they took advantage of my kindness. But thank you so much for those kind comments. Back to you, Jake.
Yeah, thank you very much, JAYLEE, for that. I appreciate it. And everybody's here listening, and the comments are coming in. Just let you know that coming from me now, personally, I don't really technically hold a grudge or any type of negativity, if you will, against you. I was trying to warn you like you were warning me. I was trying to, bring some light to your situation, considering where you were and your current situation and all that. I was trying to be helpful as a older sibling / brother, however you want to word it. And I was trying to be there for you. And I wanted you to know that, it wasn't my intentions to do what I had to do, but I had to look out. If you can agree or whatnot, I had to look out for my family. I had to do what was best for me to protect me, this podcast, and so many other things. Because I couldn't at the time, obviously, with what was going on, I couldn't count on you or anybody else. So, things happen things happen the way they happen. I'm done with it. I'm over it. I'm ready to move on. And hopefully we can continue to rekindle this relationship. As somebody said in the chat, blood is thicker than water. It actually came from Cynthia. I'll put it up on the screen for all you guys can see. There it is. Blood is thicker than water, and no business or anything should get in the way of that. JAYLEE, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you again, Jay. Appreciate it. And welcome to everybody on the show. I hope you enjoyed the show. I'm going to kick back and listen, but I might have to end my call here in about 5 minutes. It's called time. But for the next 5 minutes, I'll just kick back and listen. And again, appreciate everybody sticking by Jay and doing what you can to uplift him during a time of crisis. I was not in the right place to be able to help, but maybe now as we move forward, I can do what I can to help as well. So thank you so much again.
All right. Well, thank you very much, JAYLEE. And I'll let you know if you got some questions or whatnot, I'll go ahead and put it in here. But let's go ahead and kick this thing off. As you guys can see in the chat, the boss is in here. She says, "Hi, everyone." The boss is here. And then of course we got Tin Man. What's up, Tin Man? Hi, thank you so much for being here. He said, "Let's put all the BS aside and learn to love each other as Jesus loves us. We are in this all together." Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And then Tammy, my co-host, said, "Hi, boss." Yeah, that's it. The boss is in the house. Thank you, Tammy. All right, Tammy, real quick, what part did you want to start with first with our evidence and our data tonight for tonight's show?
Just whichever article you pull up. I'll let you pull up one of the articles, and then we can play the video and then another article, so we break it up a little bit.
Okay, fair enough. Let's go ahead and get the share screen going on that right now. Because again, like I said, everything is been changed on me on the settings, so just bear with me. So I'm going to pull up an article, guys, that's dealing with tonight's topic. If it'll come on, don't do that. All right, here we go. I think this is it. Can you see this on your screen there, Tammy, real quick?
Yeah, I can see it. It's great.
Okay. Did you want to do the channel name so they can take the credit and not me?
Yeah, let me look here. I got to get it pulled up. Sorry.
Okay, because I don't want to take their credit and get a strike. You know how they are.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Hang on a second. I don't know if this is the one or the other one. I gotta look. Nope.
It's 6 News. It's KTAL 6 News or KTALnews.com, something like that, up on the screen there.
Yeah, hang on just a minute. Sorry.
It's all right. No worries. While she's looking at that, guys, keep in mind this information and whatnot is already in the description of the video. So if you guys don't like how I'm putting it on here, you guys have access to it in the description of the video tonight on this live. Go click it and view it for your own viewing pleasure if we're going too fast or we're not doing something right. So there it is for your guys' pleasure. Anyways, carry on, Tammy.
I have a question too. Even if I'm talking, just interrupt us in the chat and we'll stop. We need to.
Go ahead.
This one is Channel 6 KTAL News.
Okay.
I just want to let everybody know that's it's a peacock. So it's in NBC News. And so this one is about Louisiana in particular. I try and bring stuff in from different states so that we can see that it doesn't matter what state you're in. We generally all have the same kind of issues out of these states. In the way that they treat inmates.
Correct.
So it says Louisiana is the U.S. state with the highest prison mortality rate.
That's
Louisiana. It's terrible. Baton Rouge,
that's disgusting.
Louisiana.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, it's crazy. A new study shows that Louisiana has the highest prison mortality rate in the United States. In a study from the Connecticut trial firm, personal injury lawyers used data from the Bureau of Justice Statistics to discover which U.S. states had the highest prison mortality rates, according to a news release. The number of deaths that took place in prison between 2001 and 2019 in each state was scaled against 100,000 people in each state's population, according to the news release. Monitoring prison mortality rates is crucial for upholding human rights standards, said Ryan King from the Connecticut trial firm. Examining patterns and causes of prison deaths enables authorities to implement preventive measures. Whether it involves addressing mental health issues, which we've done shows on that, whether it's doing that with the mental health, I'm so sorry, I lost my
You're good.
My place. Give me a second.
The beauty of going live.
Improving sanitation or enhancing safety protocols. Understanding the root causes of mortality allows for targeted interventions to mitigate risks and save lives, said King. Louisiana has the highest prison mortality rate in the U.S. The state's prison mortality rate is 42.7 per 100,000, according to the study. That's crazy. The study shows the most common cause of death in prisons throughout the state between 2001 and 2019 was heart disease. 611 deaths. The least common cause of death was homicide, 9 deaths.
Wow.
So, when you watch these TV shows and you see all this crap and you watch movies and you hear people talk and all these crazy Looney Tunes that are out there doing podcasts now too, they give misinformation and say stuff and scare people to death. I just want y'all to know 9 were from homicide. The rest were all from medical.
Yeah. And don't be surprised, guys. Right. No, you're right. Correct, Tammy. And again, a lot of the stuff that you're seeing and hearing, guys, tonight can be avoidable. And that's the dang crying shame that's how lazy our staff and our medical have been since for today. Back in the day, like way back in the day, I don't think it was that bad. But today it just seems to get worse and worse and worse.
Yes, it does. And so The top 10 U.S. states with the highest prison mortality rates are, number 1, like we said, Louisiana, 42.7%. Oklahoma, right behind them, 38.9%. Mississippi,
What a shame.
36.5%. Alabama, 33.9%. Arkansas, 31%.
Right. And Tammy, if I may, look, it's all southern states.
Yep. This is the only caveat different. Delaware, 27.8. Texas, 26.4. Missouri, 25.1. Florida, 25. South Carolina, 24.5. I mean, guys, it goes on and on and on and on. And I just want to make people aware that some of these that are listed and classified as heart attacks and things like that, they all could have been prevented. All of those could have been prevented. And a lot of it has to do with this heat in the summers, because all of these prisons have no AC.
Correct. And again, a lot of it too, what you hit on too, and it's in the article, so we're not just saying it. The facts are in the page. It's heart disease. Heart disease is a lot of it, and that's coming from the food and the high sodium issues, the commissary, the soups.
Yep. One of Rick's other cellmates that he had previously was just diagnosed with diabetes. Why?
Oh, imagine that. So, and that's probably from the commissary and the food in there. So, JAYLEE, what did you say about that? You agreed?
Yeah, I would tend to agree. It's just a known way of them to make money off the poor prisoners is to have exorbitant rates in their commissaries. And, most prisons, especially down in Louisiana, they don't pay them any wages really at all. It's slave labor down there. So they slave their asses off for a little commissary that they get, and the commissary prices are astronomical.
Yeah, well, it's price gouging, sis, if you know that. And, of course, they price gouge everything, not just commissary. Everything that's related to prison that's in there, whether it's state-owned or state-bought, or we're buying it, it's all double-priced, double-dipped, if you will.
Yes, it is. They're doing my pit line here, so I got to take a quick break. I'll be right back.
All right, cool. All right, Tammy, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, what I was going to say is in almost most of these states, they do not pay them anything, and they don't even let their work go towards buying commissary. They don't give them any money to buy commissary. So there are quite a few people that don't have commissary. If they don't have any family, or their family has abandoned them because they are in prison, or maybe the family doesn't have means. There are some families that were already struggling before the person went in to be incarcerated. So, I mean, they're without. They're just stuck. Yeah. They're absolutely stuck.
Yeah. No, you're correct, Tammy, and thank you so much for the information. And again, we got more data information to share with you guys here tonight. But again, that's just a slew or a laundry list of things, believe it or not, guys, are happening inside of our prisons on a constant basis. And again, I don't see any positive change as of right now. But then yet, hey, the new year's coming. I don't know why, but I see good things happening this year, 2025. And, I'm hoping that with new people in offices and whatnot, we're going to see some drastic change or more prison reform and some healthier food. Like I said, my solution to make healthier food, just on that alone, I think we should bring back the garden program and let people, grow their own garden, grow their own food. I think that's important. Cynthia said this.
So too.
Cynthia, our good friend Cynthia in here, said this: my son barely received blood work results from March saying his liver is bad. See, you can't make this up, guys. Even her son is going through some type of health issue. JAYLEE, before you get the time bracket done, I don't know if you got done with your pill line. Did you want to weigh on the, obviously Cynthia said, my son has barely received blood work results from March saying his liver is bad. What's your take on that? JAYLEE? Did I lose her?
Yeah, she may have left to go get her pills and then come back. She was going to call back in. That's what I thought she said, but I don't know.
Well, maybe sometimes she hits the pause button on her mic and doesn't realize it's muted. But anyways, Trey Stone said this real quick. Medical is deadly. Absolutely. With delays and denials of meds. They didn't tell friend John he had 4-stage. Oh, geez. 4-stage for cancer 2 weeks before he died. See, if I was the family
out here too, if they find out they have something terminal, they'll drag it out. They'll drag it out, and the family can beg for them to come home to be able to pass away at home. Mm-hmm. And most of the time they will not let them, but sometimes they do, and they'll give them like 2 days before they pass and let them go home with the family. Yeah,
and that's the part that really upsets me right there is that they don't tell you this stuff until last minute, and then it's a little too late, and then as a family member, I'd be pissed. I'd be, because look, I understand I understand prison is prison. I'm not asking prisons to turn to a 5-star hotel. Absolutely not. What I'm asking is a little bit of humanity, some decency, respect. And that to me, should be priceless. You can't put a price tag on that. No. But anyways, with that being said, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and get into the other portion now of our study or of our data. Excuse me, my bad.
I would do the video if you want to.
Sure, absolutely. That's coming up right now. Just got to get the settings squared away here.
Now, this video that Jay's about to start is put on by the OIG Office of
See, you're not the only one.
Office of Internal Affairs, basically. They do investigations on things like guards abusing inmates, other staff doing things that they're not supposed to, harmful things in the food or the water, or it's their job to come in and go, okay, you guys aren't doing this right. It's Office of Inspector General is their real title.
Okay. All right. So again, JD's back into the show real quick. I don't know how much time we have left, but we're going to go ahead and play a video real quick. Again, all credit goes to the channel Justice OIG. And thank you, Tammy, for explaining it. But here it is, and we'll play it. And pay attention to the information in it, guys, because it could be crucial for you guys. It's not just for us. So here's that video.
Hello, I'm Michael Horowitz, Inspector General for the U.S. Department of Justice. Recent high-profile inmate deaths at federal prisons have raised concerns about operational and management challenges at the Federal Bureau of Prisons, or BOP. Today, my office released a report on inmate deaths in federal prisons over an 8-year period in 4 categories: suicides, homicides, accidental deaths, including drug overdoses, and deaths resulting from unknown factors. Of the 344 deaths in our scope, suicides accounted for over half of them.
Yeah.
Today's report identifies numerous operational and managerial deficiencies, which created unsafe conditions prior to and at the time of a number of these deaths. For example, the BOP has recommended against housing inmates alone in a cell because of the increased risk of inmate suicide. Yet we found that more than half of the inmates who died by suicide were in single-cell confinement.
Imagine that.
And more than half of those single-cell suicides occurred in a restrictive housing setting. We also found instances of potentially inappropriate mental health care level assignments for some inmates who died by suicide, as well as deficiencies in staff completion of required mental health assessments. Additionally, we found that contraband drugs and weapons contributed to many of the inmate deaths.
What was that, Tammy?
I said, imagine that.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say it. Good job.
In our scope, including for the 70 inmates who died of drug overdoses. Other long-standing operational challenges also contributed to many inmate deaths, such as staffing shortages, an outdated security camera system, and an ineffective, untimely staff disciplinary process.
Imagine that.
We further found that in nearly half of the inmate deaths, there were shortcomings in BOP staff's emergency responses, ranging from a lack of urgency in responding, to failure to bring or use appropriate emergency equipment, to unclear radio communications, and to issues with naloxone administration in opioid overdose cases. Improvements in these areas would help prepare BOP personnel to address future inmate emergency scenarios. Finally, we found that the BOP only requires in-depth after-action reviews following suicides, and that even when such reviews are done, the BOP's current decentralized system limits its ability to effectively implement recommendations for improvement. It's critical that the BOP address these challenges so it can operate safe and humane facilities and protect inmates in its custody and care. To read our report and our 12 recommendations, please visit our website, oig.justice.gov, or go to oversight.gov. Thank you for joining me today.
So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, right there. A message from the Inspector General. Obviously, they're aware, as you guys can see, what's going on in a lot of our prisons and whatnot. So that's a good place to start if you have, questions, concerns, and whatnot. So it's a big, gigantic mess, and even this guy here is aware of it. It's ridiculous.
They
go ahead,
know
Tammy.
what's going
I'm going to come
on,
back
and
in
they're
the
doing
studio.
nothing about it. They're doing nothing.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
You're aware.
That's why.
That is, he's calling out this. The Office of Inspector General is calling out the Bureau of Prisons. They're calling them out to task, and they're putting it out there on the carpet. But yet, where are we? Same old shit, different day. Sorry, Trey.
Right. No, and you're right, Tammy. Yeah, and you're right, Tammy, and everybody in the chat's right too. Because again, you got to stop and think that even with what the guy that you just saw there in the video, I don't have a lot of trust in any shape or form when it comes to any government entity trying to run our prisons. I just don't have any faith.
No.
So. But moving down the chat here, and of course, we got one more thing I believe we want to show you guys here in just a second. But let me go ahead and open this up a little bit with everybody here. Wanda is she can't be here or watch the show any longer for some odd reason, so we understand. And thank you so much for being here, Wanda. I appreciate you. And then Tammy, our co-host, said, "Love you, Wanda." And then Christopher said this: "It is too much to ask for prisons to let you survive long enough. The sentence your judge gave you, yeah, absolutely. The JNS, the good old JNS, judgment sentencing. Foolishly not thinking the sentence was de facto death sentence. Absolutely, because that's not in the writing on your JNS. People are dying in prison, and they're looking at their JNS and going, "Wait a minute, I wasn't sentenced to death." You know what I mean? So it's like you can't even do the time that you've been sentenced to. You might not even make it to the gate. And that's where we stand on, and that's bull crap. Trey Stone said also this, and thank you, Trey Stone, for your comments. I appreciate you over there. Wait, this is the same thing. It came up twice. But anyways, Cynthia said this. Imagine that. Yeah, I always say that. Imagine that. And Cynthia also said, well said, Trey. Yeah, absolutely. Tammy, go ahead.
Just as we dig a little further, just to let you guys know, across the board in the United States, the 54 percentile that he came up with, we're going to get a little more into it with this last article.
Right.
I just want everybody to realize the way that what they'll do with somebody that says they're afraid that they're going to end their life. What they will do with them is they'll throw them in a cell with no clothes, no bedding, metal floor, metal bed, metal everything. I mean, they're in a metal box basically.
And don't forget Tim, right. And don't forget they're also in that what is called the turtle shell, the smock.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so they're left in there, but yet they figure out a way to unalive themselves.
Yeah, imagine that.
I just can't. My head's not wrapping around. The worst thing you want to do is isolate somebody when they're in that state of mind that they don't want to be on this earth anymore.
Correct.
They need the mental help, and they're not getting it.
Well, and according to my locked up woman JAYLEE, they don't have it in there. It doesn't exist. You can't get mental help or any type of professional help from a mental standpoint until you get out. They don't have it in there. And again, the reason why is because obviously it's part of budget issues, which I don't buy it, because I told you guys last time I did these videos, and you've heard me speak on it before. In 2024, this year's data, $182 billion came into the system this year. Imagine what's going to be next year. And then on top of that, keep in mind, $182 billion can't afford to get mental health professionals inside our prisons. Does it piss you off?
Pisses me off. It pissed me off quite a bit. Now I want to say something, and I just talked to her privately, but Wanda left because it triggers her, because I want to tell y'all a little bit about her real quick. Well, I won't make it long.
No, go ahead.
She came to Jay and I, and her son was being transported from city jail to county jail for some outstanding warrants.
Get this, guys. This is a sad
case. He ended up passing away, but there is evidence in the medical records that there were boot prints on his back. And I will just tell y'all right now, there was evidence that the doctor notated in the records that not only were there boot prints on his back, but he himself, her son, told the doctor that there was an altercation en route between the two places when he was arrested.
Yeah.
So they beat him before they even took him to county, and then county didn't think he was hurt. And they finally got him to the hospital when they couldn't. And then they dropped all the charges 2 days before he passed in the hospital.
Yeah.
So that he wouldn't be in the care of the county, so that they could try and get away with, oh, that's too bad, your family's got to pay this astronomical hospital bill, and also we're not going to hold ourselves accountable for him not breathing and walking on this earth anymore. So, you know, guys, this is why we do what we do. All of us, all of you in the chat, all the other people that we have a whole group of other people that sometimes are in the chat and some aren't, but they are doing things and fighting and pushing and educating and gathering information so that we can stand up as a unified group and do something. All these people running around causing havoc really ought to just sit down and think for a minute, that could be me.
Right. And of course, and you hit that right on the button, Tammy, if I may, real quick, to add that these people that do these things obviously are full of hate. That's obvious, but they're also full of jealousy too. I can tell you they are. You can see it. It's so thick, it's dripping off of them. When it comes to what people are doing to me, you guys, other people are getting it, not just me. I'm just saying people are doing this because they have no clue at all what they're doing. They think they're being heroic and all of that. But again, keep in mind, when you add the hate, the jealousy, and all of that, look what it causes. It's a major domino effect, and it's a setup for failure for people like me. Okay. So what they're doing, they're literally, guys, trying their best to take away my second chance at life. Throw it to the curb. Try to find anything they can. What is called fishing. Trying to fish to put me back in prison.
And the funny thing is, if we went to their house and we grabbed their phone and grabbed their laptops, social media, their everything, I promise you would be absolutely mortified and shocked by what's on their phone. I promise.
Yeah, absolutely. So they have.
I stand in judgment of no one, but I am not going to sit here and placate a bunch of bullshit. This is wrong. What happens to people? You go to prison. You have lost your freedom. You can't just go to the fridge and grab a beer or a glass of milk or a sandwich. You can't walk out your front door or your back door and just sit outside. You can't do anything. You can't even go get help medically when you need to and when you're about to crack mentally. Because you can't, because it's a punishment to say, hey, I don't want to be here anymore. They punish you, putting you in a segregated cell that has nothing.
Right.
What does that freaking accomplish?
Right. Absolutely. And then when you get out, your punishment continues.
Yes.
Yeah.
It does. There is no such thing as time served once you've been to prison. It stays with you for the rest of your life, no matter what your crime is, because you'll forever try and find a place to live, a place to get employed, people not to look at you, people not to harass you, try and find out where you live, what you drive, where your family works, what da 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 da. It goes. The list goes on and on.
And if you guys remember, they know this. The people that are doing all this negativity and whatnot, they know this, so they'll try to stick the knife in as far as they can to try to get you to fail and go back. Absolutely. So, but this is all they care about. They think they're doing something good for the community, but what they're doing in and out is just a problem, stirring the pot. Tin Man said this. I'm out, y'all. Take care, fam. Much love and to you all. Thank you, Tin Man, for being here. I appreciate you. Have a great night and do whatever it is that you're doing. All right, with that, let's go ahead and get into the other piece of information. And then we're going to go ahead and open it up for the rest of the evening for the chat.
Sounds good to me.
And then I got to figure out where. Oh, geez. Okay. I'll get this down. I'll get this down smooth one day.
I'm telling you.
All right. All right. Go ahead, Tammy, and please give a shout out for the credit, please, on this one too.
Okay, give me 1 second. This is theguardian.com that this came from. It's a news outlet. It says U.S. prisons, hundreds of deaths in the U.S. prisons linked to policy violations and failures. From 2014 to 2021, 187 people died by suicide. There were 89 homicides and 56 deaths deemed accidental inside prisons. Institutional failures and policy violations by the U.S. Bureau of Prisons have contributed to hundreds of preventable deaths of incarcerated people in recent years, according to a federal watchdog report released on Thursday. The U.S. Justice Department Office of Inspector General found that from 2014 to 2021, 187 people died by suicide inside BOP institutions, with the prison psychology services staff reporting that these types of deaths could be prevented if the facilities followed protocols and delivered proper resources and treatment to people in custody. The report also documented 89 homicides and 56 deaths deemed accidental during the time period, and said that the BOP consistently failed to effectively discipline staff for misconduct that contributed to the deaths.
Yeah, imagine that, guys.
Yeah, it's terrible. The scathing report by Michael Horowitz, the DOJ Inspector General, paints a picture of systemic and worsening crisis and highlights that the high-profile 2018 killing of mobster James Whitney Bulger and the 2019 suicide of Jeffrey Epstein. Both deaths were deemed preventable and blamed in part on staff negligence and misconduct. Think about that, misconduct. Wow. Come on now. Yeah. The findings add to escalating concerns about human rights violations within the BOP after the U.S. Senate found that the staff have sexually essayed women in custody and in at least 2/3 of facilities with some victim abuse for months or years. The Inspector General reviewed a total of 344 deaths, finding that in 2021 was the deadliest year in the period analyzed, with 57 fatalities compared with 38 in 2014. Deaths by suicide were most common, making up 54% of deaths in the 8-year period. Stressors that contributed to those deaths include mental health struggles, death of loved ones, planned transfers to a different institution, deportation risk, lack of family support, and SO status, the OIG reported. Wow. More than half of those who died by suicide were isolated in single-cell confinement, despite well-documented risk of housing people in solitary. The OIG found deficiencies and missed prevention opportunities in more than 40% of those deaths that were by suicide. Citing a case in which a person with previous suicide attempts was deprived of personal property items, documented as being important to his ability to cope with living in solitary. The majority of people who died by suicide had also been classified as the lowest level of mental health needs before their deaths, meaning they were not required to receive any regular mental health services or to have a treatment plan. In at least 68 deaths by suicide, the BOP reported that its staff also failed to complete required rounds in restrictive housing units. Staff are supposed to check on incarcerated people twice an hour. The OIG further said that more than 70% of prisons provided no evidence that they had completed required mock suicide drills, which are intended to improve emergency response. More broadly, the OIG found consistent failures in staff response to a range of medical emergencies in nearly half of all the 344 deaths. The
Crazy.
OIG documented significant shortcomings, including a lack of urgency in an emergent response, failure to bring or use appropriate emergency equipment, and unclear radio communication. That happens so much.
Wow.
The report found that there were 78 deaths in which there were problems with defibrillators, including cases where staff did not bring the devices to the emergency, could not locate them, or the devices malfunctioned. In 28 deaths, staff
Imagine that.
bring or properly deploy gurneys for transport, the report said. They didn't bring gurneys to get them to medical.
Where does if I can real quick, where does all of our tax stars go? It's obviously not going to this.
I don't know what they're doing. I'd love to know. There were at least 70 drug overdose deaths during the time period, 45 classified as accidental, 17 ruled suicide. Despite the continuing drug crisis behind bars, staff were hesitant to administer it's basically like Narcan in a timely manner to potentially reverse opioid overdoses.
Mm-hmm.
The OIG found guards trained to use, I can't say it, sorry, not tonight. It's Narcan, guys. It's just a way to...
It's another fancy word for it.
Yeah. Sorry, I just can't do it tonight. We're uncomfortable doing so. Medical staff told the OIG, because it's like using a EpiPen sort of type deal. The report probably does not capture the full extent of the problems that have contributed to preventable deaths. The OIG noted that the range of shortcomings in how the BOP gathers and maintains evidence after a death, and that the agency only conducts in-depth reviews after suicides. I'm almost done, guys. I promise.
No, you're good.
The report recommends training reforms, better strategies to assign mental health classifications, and improvements to record keeping and post-death investigations. The report comes amid growing scrutiny of medical neglect in prisons and jails across the U.S., which has the highest reported incarceration rate in the world. Lawsuits have reportedly uncovered cases in which incarcerated people begged for medical attention and were denied basic care before their deaths, and there is a growing crisis of aging and elderly people languishing behind bars.
There's proof right there, guys.
Mm-hmm. Scott Taylor, a BOP spokesperson, said in a statement that the Bureau acknowledges the tragic nature of unexpected deaths among those in our care. Our priority is addressing... I'm so sorry. Give me 1 second.
No, it's okay. While she's doing that, she says, it goes on saying this, guys, our priority is addressing the unique health challenges, including mental health faced by individuals in custody, particularly those with higher instances of substance use disorders. Yeah. So, and it goes on saying this, we are committed to suicide prevention, use disorder treatment, and combating contraband, which we all know this is bullcrap. But anyways, moving on here real quick while Tammy's doing her thing. BOP occurs with the need of improvements, guys, including enhancing its mental health classifications, and is dedicated to implementing these changes to ensure the safety and well-being of those in our custody. Taylor added. There it is.
Okay. So, I mean, like, it's crazy. They know there's an issue. They knew it back in this date. They knew it 10 years ago. It hasn't changed. Nothing has improved. Nothing. And you know what? Yeah. You know what our director of prisons wants to do, Brian Collier here in Texas? He wants to build more. This is his cure for everything. Build some more prisons. But yet they're already short-staffed. We had an officer unalive himself, falling asleep driving home from work after doing 2 doubles.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I don't get, Tammy, if I may speak on that real quick, because we are, already getting the top of the hour already. God, time goes by when you're having fun. But anyways, I don't get the concept of we already have prison problems as it is, in and out of the damn facility.
Right.
How does building a new prison, as you guys know, how does building a new prison fix the problem that we currently have? Tell me. It doesn't.
I think it all started when they stopped letting any type of human anything. They're going all the tablets. They would do away with visitations if they could. But I think some states actually keep it so they can keep smuggling drugs in, and it's not the families. It keeps them, because if they quit doing visitation and the drugs are still in there, who's bringing them in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Then it comes out. So they're kind of like not stopping it, the visitation, because that's the way that the staff can still get stuff in unnoticed, because there's other people there too that they can blame for it. So-and-so's wife or so-and-so's husband brought it in, or the brother or the sister, or the mom, the dad, the grandmother. But we know that more staff does, then somebody's going to risk their visitation. That's few and far between. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying the instances of it happening on one end or the other is much higher with the staff than it is with family members.
Correct.
Absolutely they could offer me, Jay, they could offer me the money to get my husband out of prison to do something for them, and I still would not do it.
Right.
Number one, I'm not going to risk not being able to see him. Number two, I'm not going to risk being where he's at.
Right. Well, and again, keep in mind, being that we're aware of what goes on there when it comes to the staff and the corruption and the money and the sneakiness, you have to understand that these people. Look, we already explained why they do it. They just obviously whether it's BOP or state facilities or county jails, these guys are doing this because they're not making enough on their standard check or standard income, standard wage. Excuse me. And we crunched. Go ahead.
I know you say that, but I'm gonna say this about that. They make more money than I do, and I'm not out committing crimes.
No, I agree.
I more money. So
I agree. I'm not looking at an excuse here. I'm just saying that they say they're not making enough, so that's why they do all this under the table bull crap and corruption.
Yeah, they're criminals in disguise. That's what they are.
Correct.
That's how I feel about them.
Correct.
I don't give a damn if they make 5 cents or they make $200,000. They shouldn't take that job if it doesn't suffice their income to do what they need to do to live. That they have to commit a crime.
I 100% agree with you. So that's the question. Why did they take if that's the case? No, I agree with what you're saying there, Tammy. The question now is why did they take it then if they don't, yeah. So why did they take it? Well, it's only obvious.
We can get into the whole mental health behind that issue too, if you want to. You know what I mean? It's a power play. They don't have power in their own life or whatever is going on. So, and I'm not saying all of them. There are some people that really want to work for the system and change the system. That is few and far between.
Yep. And well, it's like anything, like a cop. Once they put that badge on, they become a different person.
Yep. So I would agree with most of them.
Oh yeah, power trip. But anyways,
Yeah.
with that being said, is there anybody else in the chat want to ask Tammy, me, or anything related for the topic tonight? Please put it in there now. But we're at the top of the hour. There's 17 people. There was 20, now there's 17. But anyways, with that being said, Tammy, was there anything else you wanted to add, or did you want to talk about something else, or what do we got for Wednesday?
I am going to try and dig and see if we have anything to like that we want to revisit with the Menendez brothers or the case on the sheriff. I've been waiting to hear.
That's a good idea.
So
That's a good idea.
It's something we might go revisit a few things.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We can. One thing I was interested in doing, and if any of y'all have pictures or know of pictures and want to send them to Jay, I would appreciate it, and Jay would appreciate it. I think what we really want to talk about next week is the whole thing with the prison food.
The prison
what
food,
they're actually eating and serving, the scheduling for feeding them, what their food times, and I think people need to realize how bad it really is in there when it comes to that. These people say 3 hots in a cot. No, it's not like that. It's definitely not like that.
They don't get 3 hots. They get 2 hots and 1 cold.
And most of the time it's 3 colds and 3 colds. So let's be for real.
Fair
Especially enough. All these dang lockdowns they do. They don't eat at all. I mean, like they give them Johnny sacks, and I think that my dog would turn his nose at that.
My kids wouldn't eat it. I know that for a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like my dog would not eat what they serve the inmates.
Good night, Cynthia. Thank you so much for being here.
Good night. Glad you're getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Tammy, that's a great idea. So I'm looking forward to the Wednesday show. As you guys know, real quick, before the Wednesday show even gets here, understand that a lot of that food that you're seeing there, I worked in the kitchen, so I can clarify this. On the packaging, on the fake meat that they use, they don't even use real meat. Just some of the stuff that comes in the containers, the boxes, and all that says right on there, not made for human consumption. Yep. But we feed it to them anyways. It's disgusting. It turned my stomach, and I had to work in there. But anyways, so there's more of that. FDA is involved, and again, if you real quick, the reason why our locked up loved ones can't technically sue is because they're right at that threshold of 2,000 calories. It's a mess. They can't touch us, or we can't sue them. But anyways, with that being said, Tammy, do you have any closing arguments for tonight?
Just basically, guys, we got to start speaking up. We're on our phones. If we can get on your phone to text your loved one, you can get on your phone. You can send an email to your senator, to your representatives, and speak your piece. Because by God, I'll tell you what, this has to change. We cannot. I don't want my money that I work for, my tax money, going to unaliving people. Sorry.
Yeah.
Or abusing them.
It's got to stop, you guys.
It's our money. We have to speak up. We have to.
Because keep in mind, if we can't, do our part as taxpayers, then what are you doing? You have no right to come in here or to Tammy or anybody and bitch at us in any way, shape, or form if we're not doing our part. Because technically, neither are you. So this is a movement, guys. This is a thing where we need to bring awareness to our lawmakers, our government officials in the Capitol, just everybody in general. You know who to get a hold of. Me and Tammy have told you now what to do and how to do it. But if you do it, mind you this before we get out of here. Mind you this. Please be respectful. You ain't going to get nowhere. You're not going to get right. You're not going to get nowhere, guys, being rude and cussing them out.
No, that never works. I always say this. You know what? My grandmother had that saying, unalive them with kindness. You know what I mean? If you get my drift.
Right.
And
yeah,
so I will start out that way. And then when that does not, if that doesn't, most of the time that works out well. But if it doesn't, then I personally will just get real matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
And then I always take down names and numbers and who I'm talking to, because I want the higher up that I go to above that person to know that I talked to this person at this time and nothing was done. And now I'm coming to you with it. What are you going to do? See,
correct.
Because you got to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And together we can get somewhere, guys. We have to do this together.
Yeah, we can. If you guys think that you can try to tackle it, right? If you guys think you can tackle this by yourself and whatnot, take it from me. You ain't going to get nowhere because I tried that. I tried to be I got it. I'll do it all. Boy, was I wrong. You can't do it by yourself. So understand, if you're going to start doing this, know what you're doing. Get educated. Don't go in there looking like you know.
And ask for help if you need it.
Right. We have
for help. Yeah.
Right. We have the people. We have the knowledge. We have the experience. Just hook up. Let's get our boots to the ground and let's start doing something, because we can speak about it until we're blue in the face. But we're here to do these podcasts not for our health or to try to get clout or popularity status. We are here to bring awareness, and that's our main goal here.
And we're happy to help anybody. Like if you have something that you need help with and you may not want it on the show, it's more of a private matter, reach out. We're here. That's what we're here for. And we're going to keep fighting. You're not alone in this, any of you.
Right. Absolutely, guys. Real quick, one more thing. Let's see. We got Hank Willard, my friend. Wow, that's awesome. Hank, thank you so much for being here. I follow him too. He's coming in from Facebook. Corrupt politicians are professional and at passing the buck when it comes to trying to make changes. Absolutely, it is. Thank you so much, Hank, for being here. I appreciate you, my friend. Keep doing what you're doing over there, and I'm proud of what you've done and what you've become since you've been out. So I'm very proud of you. Anyways, with that being, Cynthia said this, and we're going to go ahead and chat out of here. Cynthia said, I'm still here, but I wanted to be sure I commented before it's over. No, you're great, Cynthia. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for being a solid supporter and a friend to this podcast. You are appreciated. Hope you're doing good. Reach out to us if you need anything. We're here. One more time, Trace said, now Oakdale, LA food is sometimes good, like inspection time and holidays. Well, of course. But how about we do this? How about when it comes to inspection times, how about we just come in there without announcing it? See what happens.
Yeah, that's my big goal right there. One of them, one of many.
I want
an independent group of people going in there.
Right, but that's the thing. When they do these inspections, they know they're coming.
Mm-hmm.
What's the point?
An independent party that's not associated with the state, county, or federal. They need to have independent panel of people. Absolutely.
I agree, Tammy. Anyway, Cynthia said this, and we're going to bounce out of here. Cynthia said, sometimes the truth hurts. Absolutely. But I'd rather not live blindfolded. And none of us do. And of course, my friend Hank got in here. Thanks, my friend. Absolutely. It's a pleasure. And Cynthia said, I agree. Absolutely. Well, with that being said, my quick closing argument, guys, is that if you want to learn or want to become an advocate and you want to speak up for what's going on with our very, very corrupt system, reach out to us. Help us make this movement big and strong, because I would love to see some solid change within our system. And I know it's going to be a task. It's going to be a job. But don't try to conquer it by yourself. Have some backup, and we're your backup. So reach out to us and let us know what you need. Right now, there's my email right there in the bottom in the ticker, voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, again, voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com. Reach out to us. I'll reach out to all of you, and we'll communicate, and we'll work together as a team, a unit, a village, and we'll get this job done one way or another. We're going to get our hands dirty. It's not going to be a walk in the park, if you get my drift. So if you guys like challenges, you're in the right spot. Tammy, with that being said, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you as always, and thanks for sharing the data tonight.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here. You know that. Just want to
absolutely.
Good night.
You make a great a great co-host. So absolutely. But
when my marbles are there, maybe sometimes my marbles.
Hey, that's what makes this podcast unique, Tammy, is when your marbles aren't there. Because, like I said, I don't have my marbles there much either. So hey, but that's what makes us that sets us apart from everybody else, because this is not Hollywood. You know, so nobody likes it. Oh, well, that's part of my disability anyways. So it's all good. But anyway, Trey Stone said this, Inside Out family. Absolutely. Thank you, Trey. I appreciate you, my friend. Well, reach out to us if you got questions, comments, concerns, voices from insideout@gmail.com. Other than that, we're going to go ahead and bounce out of here. But with that being said, I'll see you guys this coming Wednesday right here in our studios from Inside Out. Good night, everybody.